Hi, it's Cayman Reynolds, and we have some crazy cool weather affecting most of the United States, and that's going to impact your bees. But before we talk about that, we have two videos coming up, and one of them is about half a dozen bee suits that I've tried. I've tried tons of bee suits, but if you guys are wanting to know which one I really like for the veil and which one has this option, there's a lot of good options, but there's also some terrible options. There's a lot of scammers out there, and I want to point you in some really good directions. I think that you'll find one out of this group that you'll like, and you'll just learn a lot about bee suits. And the other one is a video about the new vaporizer that's hitting the market. We're going to be giving away an Instant Vap Light. We're going to be talking about that and giving away a North American Honeybee Expo ticket. So be sure to watch out for that one coming up here in the next week, and you could possibly win one of those things and learn about the new launch on the Instant Vap. I can't remember the name of it, but it's stupid awesome. So let's get to how could this impact your bees. It's cool. Plants are affected by temperature. Some produce nectar really good in the 80s. Some produce really good at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But once we start getting really cool, only certain plants perform good in cooler temperatures. And then also some do better when it's really hot. So I don't do really good when it's really hot. 90s and 100 degrees, you guys can have them down South Florida. That's the perks of having the ocean, all that kind of stuff. But I hope that you guys are enjoying this. I know I am. I'm ready to go carve a pumpkin. It's that type of temperature. It's kind of cool here in the shade. 70, low 70s, dropping down. But this really impacts the plants, and this is going to impact your bees. And if you're in an area where it's usually too hot for the plants to perform to their best, in a lot of areas that happens, the fall flow is not very good. It's a short period of time of just a couple of weeks. You may have more weeks of pollen, but what about nectar, goldenrod, wing stem, aster? Temperature, moisture in the soil all impacts that. And a lot of this kind of stuff, doesn't happen that often. We don't usually get this big of a surge coming out of the north. That's the weather for you. I've been doing this 20-something years. I've not seen anything close to normal in that time. So I'm sure there's some old timers that might have something to say, but we have a pretty short lifespan and we don't know really what's going on. I definitely don't. What I do know is every year is a little bit different, and my bees are going to be impacted by this positively or negatively. I think there are some beekeepers who are going to have a really good fall flow because the temperature is actually lower than it usually is, helping the plants produce more. On the other side, there's going to be some people who maybe have a better chance of having a good fall flow, and because it's too cool, the plants don't produce well. So what I'm saying is, watch your bees. That's the only way you're going to know what's going on, is by getting yourself in the bee yard and looking into your hives and going, oh, this one's light, this one's not. Don't wait. If you're a hobby beekeeper and it's something that's new to you, or even if you're halfway seasoned, don't wait. It's so much easier to feed your bees during the warm months and beef them up. I know my fall flow in Tennessee, nectar-wise, is pretty much over by towards the end of September. I don't take fall honey, and so if there are some hives that need fed, we are going to do that. Heck, I'm already doing it now because I don't take any fall honey. I've got into some hives and they are just rolling over double deeps. We're putting a third deep box on them, and some of them are already drawing 3 or 4 combs. We heavy wax it. We're giving them a little bit of feed, but some of these have so much honey from the leftover from spring that they are going, if we have a good fall flow, they are going to swarm on us. And that's the last thing the bees need to do. That's the last thing I need them to do, is to swarm in the fall. And they will totally do it if they run out of room. And if they maybe don't, then the queen can't lay as much, and you end up with a smaller cluster than you should have because the queen runs out of room to lay. Point is, get into your beehive. Some of them might be fixing to starve. They can't be going backwards right now, and they're trying to raise winter bees. Winter bees have to be the most fat bees, the healthiest bees, and if they are lean right now, they're going to produce less bees, and they're also going to feed each larvae less food per larva. And that is going to end up with shorter-lived bees or a smaller winter cluster. Usually those are pretty tied in. So as beekeepers, get out there. And the fall flow, I personally, at 20-something years in my region, I do not count on it. I count on it as much as I count on the government actually living up to their promises. Don't count on it. So No, so just get out in the bee yard, feed them early if you think they need to be fed. It's so much harder to feed in cold weather. There's some emergency feeding, but the bees are so much better about taking sugar syrup early, inverting it, and getting it in a form that's good for them. And there'll be some people that say feeding bees is bad for them. Well, it's been working for a long time, like a century, actually more than that. But whatever, do what you're gonna do. Maybe you've just wasted your time. But what a way to waste it. We'll see you in the next video.